We are the unclean and destitute. We are the lost youth. We are the future. We are compromised.
What's up, hackers? Welcome to Saturday Hacker Day. My name is Taggart, and yes, I did in fact just change the title. It is not chill code. We are in fact doing the thing that we do on Saturdays, including starting off with this week in cyber news. There is quite a lot of it, actually. So let's jump right in. To get us started, we have a report from the UK that a managed service provider that is used by the National Health Service has suffered an attack. It looks like it may be a ransomware attack according to reports that we have. Now, I want to clarify this. This is not quite in the same vein as what happened to the Irish National Health Service, at least as far as we know right now. What has occurred is that the MSP known as Advanced, which is used by most of the operators of the 111 emergency service in the UK, which is similar to, I believe it's similar to 911 in the United States, has suffered an outage, meaning that your ability to contact and get services, emergency services from 111 has been tremendously impacted. Now, apparently, you can still make the call, but the response time is seriously depleted because they're working off of backup systems and manual processes, things like that. This is not an attack directly against care facilities. And I do want to stress that while that difference is significant, in a way, this is actually a little bit scarier. Here's why. There are a lot of different ways to attribute deaths in healthcare cyber attacks to ransomware or whatever, or to attribute deaths at all to the cyber aspect of an incident. But the one that I think that we know for sure had a direct causality was in Stuttgart, Germany in, I want to say 2020, maybe it was 2021, where a patient had to be diverted from a hospital en route to one hospital and was diverted to another one and passed away in transit. Why does that relate to this story? The most important thing you can do to save a life usually is get a patient access to care. And so anything that is a delay to that is going to be really, really dangerous for the person who needs care. So if the response time to emergency service is actually getting to somebody, getting an ambulance out to somebody, and then getting them back to the hospital, even if the hospital systems are working just fine, if that initial response time is impacted by a cyber attack, you now have a legitimate health impact from the cyber incident. So pretty scary stuff. I do know that there are kind of different stories on how the media in the UK is handling it. I don't want to fan any flames of fear, but it is something to be aware of that this is taking place, and I would classify this as a healthcare attack, even though it was against an MSP. Moving right along. Just a ridiculous story this week about a choice made by Slack in its application design that has now forced it to reset user passwords. So basically what was going on is that when there was an invitation, one of the things you can do is invite folks to workspaces, right? And what was going on when you did that over a Slack channel was that the invitation contained inside of it, in the WebSocket connection that occurred during this invitation, contained hashed passwords from the inviter. I do not know why this would be necessary. I don't know why that choice made it past dev, but it did. And so, again, these were hashed passwords and not necessarily complete compromises of credentials. And apparently, according to the story in Bleeping Computer, the hashed passwords were not visible to Slack clients, with active monitoring of encrypted network traffic from the Slack servers required to access this exploit. So what that really means is that if you had a proxy set up like we do all the time with Zap, you'd be able to see it, right? I actually think you could, anything that was reading WebSockets would be able to see it. So I don't think it's as safe as they're claiming it was, but at any rate, this has caused Slack to reset passwords for users in what they're calling about 0.5% of their user base. Okay. So just kind of a goofy thing, and this is where application security and secure application design really matters. And it's easy to miss, but this is one of those things where I'm sure there was a good application reason. It made something easy for the developers in one way or another to make this happen, but code review is necessary for a good security program. And it's kind of a buzzword. No, it's definitely a buzzword, but you hear the term shifting left a lot in security. Like anybody who's a black hat right now is going to be hearing a lot about shifting left. It is a bit of a jargon term, but what that means is that traditionally security was considered an afterthought, especially when we're talking about application design, that a code audit, dynamic application security testing, static application security testing was happening after the code was written. Shifting left refers to getting that security as part of the software development lifecycle in a more meaningful way so that these mistakes are caught before you ship a product, not after. And I do think that that kind of culture is something that would have prevented this and is something that we need to think about a lot more for anybody who's responsible for developing software, whether commercially or in-house. Okay, last story today. This was just kind of hilarious. If you've hung out with us during our backdoors and breaches, or you work in any sort of institutional defense capacity, you'll be familiar with the TLP, or the Traffic Light Protocol, which talks about essentially circles of trust and confidentiality for information, threat intelligence that you're sharing. And generally speaking, there were 4 levels to the Traffic Light Protocol. Clear, meaning share everything wherever you want. Green, meaning it's open for kind of limited disclosure, but it's within the community. Amber was for the organization itself and sort of need to know. And red was like lock it down, really absolutely individual recipients, and that's kind of it. And we now have TLP 2.0, and I didn't realize that we added lights to traffic lights, but there is now a slightly modified version of this standard. And I'll link the TLP standard here. What it has changed to is we still have TLP clear, share liberally as you wish. TLP green, also still the same. What has changed really is amber, where there is now TLP amber, where you can you can share within an organization and the organization's clients. And then there's amber plus strict, which means you cannot share the information to clients, just to internal organization members only, which was kind of how I always interpreted TLP Amber in the first place, but whatever. So that distinction now exists, and if you have the need to use it in your communications, you can. I know that in my role, I often have to write PSAs for the organization and write up threat intel reports, and I do have to use the Traffic Light Protocol kind of all the time. So maybe this is a little bit biased, but this one does impact me. I'm going to have to consider whether I want TLP Amber or TLP plus strict for my communications going forward. Okay. Now, some news that has absolutely nothing to do with anybody but this community right here. First, a huge thank you to all of you. It happened, I think, on Wednesday, but we have now surpassed 2,000 followers on Twitch, and that is just unbelievable to me. That in about the space of 2 years, I think I started streaming on Twitch in September of 2020, but in the space of 2 years, this community has grown, and it's supportive, it's celebratory, it's inclusive, and curious. I am so grateful for every one of you who has joined this community, joined us on the Discord, hung out on stream. It's been a fantastic journey, and we are absolutely just getting started. There's a lot more to do, both on stream and not. And that actually leads us to the next thing that I want to talk about, which is on Friday, I think, no, on Thursday, we launched the Taggart Institute, which is the new learning platform that I've been kind of working up toward. You can check it out at learn.taggarttech.com, and we've got a command in the in the channel for bang learn, which is going to give you the same thing. And what we have here is a place to build fundamental and advanced security and IT skills. Right now, we have 3 courses on offer: Intro to Regular Expressions, Intro to the Linux Command Line, and from friend of the community, friend of the Discord, and our own professor of Pwn, Sarsek, an oral history of binary exploitation defenses, which basically will walk you through everything from traditional buffer overflows with no protections whatsoever, all the way up through dealing with NX and DEP mitigations, how you deal with stack canaries, everything that you would need to do to actually perform binary exploitation in real life, not just in the basic buffer overflow exercises. So if you ever really wanted to understand how binary exploitation works for real, go check out SAR's course. We already have, I think, over 50 enrollees, and so kind of exciting for just 2 days. Let me tell you a little bit about the plan for the Taggart Institute, just so you know what to expect. First of all, introductory courses are going to be free forever. They will always be free. That's our plan, is that introductory courses, getting your start, that should not cost you. The advanced courses that we offer, however, we would like to reward the course creators, myself included, but also SAR has generously offered his, I would consider, advanced course for free. But other folks that are interested in developing courses, and we're in conversations with them right now, no course on the Taggart Institute will ever cost more than $20 US, and many will be less than that. And our promise to you is that it will be worth the investment. This is not going to be a try hack me room. This is going to be in-depth information. Yes, it's going to be complex. Yes, it's going to require you to take notes. And the idea is that it's going to make you put in the work, and you will be rewarded for doing so. At the end of every course is what we're calling an exhibition of mastery, where you have to prove to yourself that you can accomplish the thing that you think that you've learned throughout the course. It's not just clicking complete and then you're done. And then you share that exhibition in our Discord community so that you can receive feedback, help whatever you want to do. And of course, this is super important, we can celebrate your success with you, because this is a community of learners and we do celebrate our successes. So I'm really excited about this. I have already a couple of courses in the pipeline that are going to be coming up soon. I'll tell you one that's coming up is Python for Defenders, where we're going to take an introductory look at Python, but in a completely different way than you've ever seen. We're going to do it in such a way that if you're in a blue team role, but you don't have a programming background, how can you use Python as a tool to make your defense work easier? I don't think anyone's ever really done anything like that before, and I'm really excited to show you how to do that. We're going to go from intro, Python syntax, all the way up through using Jupyter notebooks to actually create processes and procedures that you can use in a defensive role. So that's all the good news. Here's maybe the less good news, but I think it comes out as a benefit in the long run. This is a lot. It's a lot of work to do, and I am enjoying doing it. But I learned while I was making the PWST course that I do have, in fact, finite time. And so what I am going to do to make time for this new kind of content delivery is I'm going to roll back to 2 streams per week rather than 3. So after conversing with the community in the Discord and my trusted circle, the consensus is that the show that's going to go on the chopping block is the Tuesday show, Attack on Tuesday. And so Al won't have to feel obliged to raid me anymore, so that's nice for him. But also, it means that we won't have a dedicated offensive security show. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep Wednesday as sort of a programming kind of sysadmin-y developer sort of thing. And then Saturdays are going to become purple team. So it's still going to be Saturday Hacker Day, but rather than a purely blue team focus, it's still going to be blue team content, but we're going to mix in a little bit more offensive in there so that we can cover those topics as well. And we'll use the lab a little bit more so that when we have reasons to do simulated attacks, we'll do those on Saturdays. So that's the plan. We're going to do Wednesdays, programming and home lab stuff and all that kind of whatever else that isn't purely defensive, offensive security. And then Saturday, or investigating new vulnerabilities, whatever is catching our interest during the week. And then Saturdays will be our combined blue team, red team stream, hopefully with some more guests soon. So that is the plan. But again, what that's making room for is structured instructional content on the Taggart Institute, which I'm really, really excited about. I can't wait for you to get in there and see what is on offer and offer more courses for you. All right. With that out of the way, we are ready for our actual content for today. And that is going to be, let's get this. And that is going to be Auditd versus Sysmon, the Linux monitoring showdown. Now, if you're not familiar, let's talk a little bit about both Auditd and Sysmon. Auditd is a long-standing monitoring tool for Linux. And let's kind of bring up what it is. Let me change the music up a little bit. There we go. A little bit chiller. Sneaky Gamer, Alienworks, good to see you. And Kai, thank you so much for the follow. So Auditd is a pretty cool thing. It is difficult to understand right off the bat because its syntax is a little bit tricky. But basically, and this is kind of an older tutorial for it, but what it will do is it will create very detailed logs of operations on the system. So command execution, things like that, are going to be available inside of Auditd. I think probably the easiest way to see it in practice is to get it running. To do so, I have spun up 2 different Linux servers. One of them is going to be that should have been renamed. Sorry. This is Ubuntu Sysmon. It's not a demo node. Right? That's 159. Yeah. Okay. And I've spun these 2 machines up, and I've done it with, of course, the power of Terraform, making it nice and easy to get that going. Quick note also on the SecLab repo. The Proxmox branch does exist, and you can go get it now if you want to have some of these plans and examples and the Packer stuff. I've restructured the Terraform component in particular to have examples and my plans. So examples is going to stay pretty static, and whenever I add stuff to that, that'll go up into the repo. My plans is a folder for you and for me to create your own Terraform plans that won't be tracked by Git. So just a bit of a restructuring there to make it a little bit easier to work with. Similarly with Ansible, I've changed it up so that there's an inventory.example.yaml, and that's what's going to come with the repo. And then the proper inventory you can change as you see fit without it being tracked by Git. So just a little bit more ergonomics in the usage of the repo. But okay, so we've spun up these 2 things, these 2 servers. You can see I'm SSH'd on the top here to Ubuntu Auditd, and I'm SSH'd on the bottom to Ubuntu Sysmon. Thank you very much, Tmux. And I've even installed, as you can kind of see from the commands here, I've installed the Elastic agent on both. right? So I have the Elastic Agent reporting from both of these things. Let's go over to our fleet and confirm that we have both agents reporting in. Indeed, we do. Look at that. Looking good. Now, I haven't installed Auditd on this, and I certainly haven't installed Sysmon for Linux, so we just wanted to get these two up and running, kind of pregame that, and then we'll walk through the installation together here on stream. Alienworks asks, can you set it up on, a question on Proxmox, can you set it up on a standalone PC and put it on the network so you don't eat up your main PC's resources? Not only can you, I would say you should. Proxmox, yeah, Proxmox really, I think, should be what you install on the bare metal because it's a hypervisor, right? Don't mess around with nested virtualization with Proxmox. So what you do is you can have an Intel NUC, you could have an old desktop that you're not using. I'm using an enterprise server because, I don't know, that's the life choice that I've made. But it's designed to run these sorts of operating systems, and then I can virtualize whatever I want, networking, whatever. So yeah, you can definitely use an old PC. I would say if you're going to upgrade something on it, I mean, make sure you've got enough cores for the virtualization. Memory is important. And also, no joke, get yourself some SSD storage because you do not want to have to be worrying about spinning disks for the entirety of your operation. Maybe some of your storage can live on spinning disks, but if you can get SSDs in there in the mix, it's really going to make a difference for your performance. Okay, so installing Auditd. It is part of the Ubuntu repos. I'm not reading a dev.to tutorial on it. Let's wait for the red hat pop up. Ah, there it is. So easy days, really, for default Auditd. All we're going to do is sudo apt update. Actually, let me disable that mirroring. You saw that happening there. Set synchronized panes off so that I'm only typing in one of my tmux panes. Apt install Auditd. Here it comes. Will you ever do a stream where you just play some PC game? We did! I played Myst like 3 weeks ago. Maybe it was 4 weeks ago. I have a problem. I used to play a lot of games, but now, like, every time I sit down to really play a game, I start feeling guilty like an hour in, saying, I should be doing something else. All right, let's enable Auditd. Okay. Now, that being said, I do try. I'm trying to be better about that because I do enjoy gaming and I gotta find, like, the right thing. I have to be super careful, though, because I do know that there are certain things that I can definitely just lock in on. For example, I know I cannot buy DCS or really even Microsoft Flight Simulator. I can't do it because if I do, that's it. I will end up with the full, like, F-18 stick and throttle, rudder pedals, IR tracking, and that's it. That's all we're gonna do. Yeah, that's right. This will turn into a flight sim stream, and I'll pretend to be Growling Sidewinder. There's no way I can let myself go down that rabbit hole. But actually, just yesterday, I was asking if there's like a JRPG. I was listening to some really good like anime soundtracks. I was like, is there a JRPG that's just pretty places and exploring without the grind? And I got some good recommendations. I fired up, I know I'm super late to the party, but I finally fired up Final Fantasy 15, the Windows edition, and it's actually delivering right now for exactly those things, so I'm enjoying that. How about some KSP? Maybe we'll do Kerbal Space Program at some point. It's been a while since I played, but I do enjoy Kerbal Space Program. All right. Also, hey, Frackery. So Auditd is running. What does that actually mean, though? Okay, you can see that we've got this folder in var log called audit. And there's that audit.log. Let's go ahead and cat that out. Oh my god! Right? We're getting syscall data. Lots of stuff that's really interesting here. You can see that there's some kinds of executions, right? We get IDs, user IDs, all this data. Hard to parse as a human being, but the good news is that Elastic's agent has the ability to read Auditd logs out of the box. So if you look in the integrations for Elastic, Auditd, look at here. And I've actually already added this integration to my Linux servers policy. And you can see it's assigned to 2 agents, even though only one of them is collecting them. So I should be collecting Auditd logs already. If I go over to Discover, we'll get rid of this old query here. Oh, get rid of this filter. There we go. We got to clear all of this out. Oh, you know what? Let's just hit new. There we go. Much easier, rather than a saved query. Okay. Now, in terms of what we're looking for, right there, you can see that we have Auditd data coming in. Hello, Magic Midodia. So, hacking is a super broad topic, my friend, and I can't tell you what to learn first. You have to explore and discover. Don't even start thinking about certificates or exams right now. You're not there yet if you're just starting. You have to figure out what excites you first and what you're passionate about. And to do that, I would recommend going through some introductory stuff on tryhackme.com. Learning how the process goes, and seriously, do the introductory stuff. I'll also say, gotta remember this, that if you're still building out your skill set, there are some places that you might want to check out, and even building up your basics with like the Linux command line might be helpful for you. And good news, there is a new course that's available to do exactly that at learn.taggart-tech.com. No, but seriously, Try Hack Me is where you should start, okay? To discover what you like, what you still need to learn. You're too early in the process to specialize in any one thing, okay? Let your interests lead you. All right, let's see. So we've got a lot of JSON data. It's not getting parsed. Oh, wait, yeah, we do. It's getting parsed. I just need to clear that filter. This is really nice. So data stream type is logs. The host name is ubuntu.auditd. And in fact, let's filter for this value. Yeah, so Frackery, I agree that basic scripting with Python or Bash helps too, but I do not like giving that advice to total beginners at first, because it can be intimidating to say, oh, you have to learn how to program right away to get into security, and it's actually not true. It becomes a very valuable tool once you're in the pipeline, but I do not consider it a prerequisite. So just be aware of that. That it's great, but not necessary, especially at the entry level. Okay, so we're finding everything from Ubuntu Auditd. You can see we've got a lot of Auditd logs coming in. And what kind of data does it give us? All right, most of this is monitoring data. Oh, okay, so you want to do crimes. Maybe don't do crimes. Exposing scammers, fine. Exploiting scammers, not so great. That's a classic two wrongs, you know what I mean? All right, so we're bringing data in, but I want to see data stream type, data stream namespace, data stream data set. So it's just it's the host name that's showing us this, as opposed to, yeah, I want to see the log origin file name, right? Because I want to see where we're getting this. There's a lot of data here. log.go. Some of these don't have file names, and that's interesting. Oh, perfect. So the dataset auditd.log is actually what we want. We want to filter for that value. Perfect. We're learning our way around the data to understand. Remove that column. Okay, so now what do we see in these Auditd logs? Now that we know that it's the data stream data set is auditd.log, that's kind of how we're gonna set that up. What kind of data do we have? Oh, look at this. This is so good. It's already parsed for us right out of the box. So we have the AUID, the EGID, the EUID. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So we have all of this coming in. The syscall is send to. Extremely cool. By the way, we are going to be infecting. The process executable might be fun to take a look at. A lot of sudos here, which would make sense. So for the things that don't show that, what are we seeing here? We're seeing input types. Let's try a basic elevation on the box and see what gets picked up. Did I get that into Elastic with Logstash? So yeah, but easy mode, Wally. So the way that I got this was with the Elastic agent and then adding the Auditd integration. So I did not have to manually configure a file source or anything else like that with FileBeat. All right, let's do sudo. Let's do something like really dumb, right? Let's do sudo cp bin bash temp bash, and then let's do sudo chmod plus s temp bash, and then bin bash. Or dang it. Oh. Taggart. Doofus. Temp bash dash p. I was like, why isn't this working? There we go. Okay, so I elevated to root. What did Auditd see? Okay, a lot of sudos, which, yeah. But these are just sudo invocations. They're not really telling me... Ah, here we go. The proc title. That is a really weird way to describe it. Is there better data for that anywhere? Doesn't look like it. So we're going to add that proc title as a column and see if that is more revealing here. So there's chmod plus s temp bash. So yeah, there is. It's kind of difficult to see, though, as you can tell, right? Just looking from these log sources, not a whole lot is going on. Now, we'll go over and check the security dashboard to see if any of these alerts actually triggered, but I'm not optimistic. Yeah, no. Which is fine. We know that we have a lot of rules to do, or a lot of work to do for these rules. So I'm not too concerned about that. Let's go to back to Discover. Okay, so that was a simple situation, but we're getting a feel for how Auditd out of the box, right? There are things you can do to add what Auditd monitors and filter what Auditd monitors, but we're getting a feel for how out of the box it's going to monitor this data. We're seeing commands getting audited, right? We see this proc title. Is there anything else in these, like the cp bin bash, right? Is there anything that we see in here that is more useful other than the time, which of course is interesting? Not really, right? Now, let's give Sysmon a try. Sysmon's going to take a little bit more work to set up. Here's Sysmon for Linux. I can't use Swift on Security's configuration for it, but we're going to fire this up. Luckily, there are some installation instructions here. The packages are available in the official Microsoft Linux repositories. So this is easy mode, and I like doing it this way, honestly, because I want the repository available to be able to update it just the way that other software is updated on the system. So we're going to sudo, so we just downloaded this .deb file. Now, if you're not familiar with the way that Microsoft does this, they do this for pretty much all the Linux stuff that they offer. Whether it's the Azure command line, whether it's what else do they offer? Other stuff. The Azure command line is the one that's sticking in mind. But what they do is Defender for Linux, thanks, killer. Yeah. Oh, I'm not there yet, but I definitely want to be. What they'll do is they deploy this Debian package or RPM package, right? And what it does is it will set up the repositories for you, and then you can update and install whatever you're trying to do. So to do this, we'll do sudo dpackage-i, this thing, right? That'll go and do what we want it to do. Now, if we look at etc apt sources.list.d, see how there's now a Microsoft prod.list? That wasn't there before. You'll have to take my word for it, but it wasn't there before. And with that available, now we can do sudo apt update and sudo apt install Sysmon for Linux. Easy days. Now, I wonder if this is going to do a good dependency check for us. If not, we may have to install some prerequisites, which is what I expected in the first place, right? Like the eBPF stuff. We shall see. Nope, just worked. Okay, so sudo systemctl enable Is it just Sysmon? So that's installed, and now what? Oh, is it just a command? Yeah, it is. Okay, so Sysmon is just a command now, and in order for us to set it up as a service, it's just like we do it on Windows with -i, install service and driver. Optionally take a config file. So we're going to do it without a config file first. So we're going to do sudo sysmon -i accept EULA. It even says it's still Mark Rusinovich and Thomas Garnier, Kevin Sheldrake. It's the same stuff. Okay. Sudo systemctl status sysmon. It is active and running. You can see how it's running too. That's running from opt sysmon, and the config is this opt sysmon config XML, which presumably was a default. And you can see the events that are coming out of it. Now, where do they go? Insanely, they write directly to syslog. So we technically have, and look, they write as XML. Not journal D, no. And the reason it can't be to journal D, paranoid Polaroid, is because this thing needs to come out. The thing with journal D might be my least favorite part of systemd. I actually like systemd most of the time, but journal D sucks. And it's because what journal D does, for those of you who are not familiar, is it stores your logs in a binary blob format that is managed entirely by journal D. And so if you wanted to get those files off of a system, like into a SIM, it's kind of a pain to do so. Whereas The Sysmon developers knew that that was a problem, so instead, it's getting written directly to var log syslog. Now, I think you can change up where that's getting written, but this is coming in right now. And so the question is, can the Elastic Agent deal with this? And I've been doing some research on this. I don't know if I found the answer. This is usually what I find. This is kind of like the first two issues here. First is a question, and just says it's on the roadmap. And then issue on the GitHub, which is pretty sure the same thing twice. 1930, 1930. Yep. And so in terms of what's available for us, what do we see? Did some testing and confirmed you can use the existing Sysmon for Windows pipeline with the decode XML win event log processor. So the question is, how do you do that? Hey, Speedy Astro, good to see you. The decode XML win event log processor decodes win event log data in XML format that is stored under the field key. So it would have to be in our configuration. Right? Let's see how it's getting parsed right now, if it's getting parsed at all. Let's bring in... Oh, the host name hasn't been changed. It really should be seclab labubuntu. I'm curious why that didn't change. Ooh, that's concerning. Let's remove this column and this column. Suck. Let's add host.hostname as a column. Ubuntu Sysmon. There it is. We're going to filter for this. Remove this column. Journal CTL O cat-t whatever should give the plain XML. Yeah, that's right, Paranoid Polaroid, but I don't want to have to do that on an ongoing basis. I want my agent to be able to collect the data on a streaming basis. And the way to do that is to look at the log file the same way that it does with all the other logs. Which is why Sysmon made the choice to do it this way. Okay. Event.dataset is Elastic Agent file beat. Logs. What are we seeing here? Let's get the data set as a column. So there's file beats and metric beats. We want file beats. Let's see what else we can find in terms of active countermeasures. Does AC have something for us? That would be amazing. Oh, look, they have a comparison of Sysmon and Auditd right here. Well, that's it. Stream's over. Active countermeasures did it for us. At the time of writing this blog post, Sysmon for Linux has only been released for about a month. I have no experience deploying Sysmon. Support for is still in development for agents such as Linux. Oh, well, thanks very much. Who wrote this? Chris? Guest author. Well, thank you, guest author. Oh, maybe this is Hal Pomeranz? This is super Linuxy. This might be Hal. Good God. No, Pepe Berba. Interesting. Well, thank you very much. Come on. Removed their assignment on May 31st. Is this done? Like... Theme just ingested. So I think this has to do with maybe adding a processor, but that's going to be a new thing for me. I want to make sure we're doing this correctly. I want to look for this data somewhere, if it is available. Let's look at the raw and see what it's pulling in here. Not a whole lot. And in fact, I'm seeing a lot of these non-zero in the message. I'm going to filter this message out because I don't want to see that anymore. All right, what are we left with then? Let's add the message. Harvester started. Is the data set wrong? Because this looks closer. I don't think so, though. Let's see what datasets we have available. System.syslog. Yes, please. Nothing. All right, something's going wrong. Harvester started. It's looking good. The harvester's coming in. We're not seeing any errors, I don't think. Okay. Let's see what we have available to us if we simply... All right. So let's see. This is the configuration on the endpoint, and presumably this is just about the agent stuff. This isn't about the files that it's collecting. Yeah, that is configured elsewhere. In fact, let's go to our fleet. And actually, let's go to integrations. And I'm just going to... Or no, I wanted a syslog, right? Is there such a thing? Yeah, I don't think... Yeah, there's Auditd logs, which were already collecting, but that's not really what we wanted. So let's go check out not our integrations, but our fleet itself. Agent policies, Linux servers. What you got for me? We have integrations. Here's the system integration. Hey, Ayumi and Ready to Hunt. Thank you for the follows. So check this out. It says collect events from the Windows event log, which isn't like super helpful because we're not connecting them. We don't need that on the Linux servers. Collect logs from system instances. Collect syslogs. Okay, so it's collecting syslogs, varlog syslog. Looks good. And so the question is, how is it getting processed then? Which I think is where this issue comes into play. This decode XML win event log situation. The decode XML win event log processor decodes Windows event log data in XML format that is stored under the field key. It outputs the result into the target field. So, okay, do we have to do this? So event system provider. So the event is pretty much what we're... Okay, now where do we set this up? It's going to be on the SOC. Unless you can do it in the... Unless you can do it in here. We're not using OS query. We can get away with it. Okay, here's the logs.system.syslog ingest pipeline. Oh, yeah. So we can add a processor. It's actually pretty cool. What kind of a processor is it? Extract values from message that match a grok pattern. Name, date, and... Let's... You know what? Let's go back to the ingest pipelines and see what it does for Windows stuff, right? Yeah, let's see what it does for the Sysmon operational. And then, okay, so there's a rename. Win log level. But my concern is that this is... Wow, wild. But none of this is about parsing XML. This functionality is in technical preview. Oh. All right, let's go back to our ingest pipelines and see if we can figure out how to do this. And by the way, this right here, this is why you want security engineers. I just want to point this out here. I work with some amazing security engineers, and this is what, when they're doing the work that matters, this is what they're doing. They are making sure that your tools are configured in such a way that you're getting the data that you actually need. It's one thing to buy a tool. It's one thing to install a tool. It's even one thing to set it up so that it's running. But it's another entirely to get it so that your tool is actually tuned and bringing in the data that you want without the noise that you don't want. And that's where a good security engineer comes into play. So this is a grok on message. Green Jenny, I just do grep F important. It only brings the important stuff. Yeah. Grok expressions used to match and extract named capture groups use the first system log timestamp. God. Ugh. Now, do our syslog or sysmon lines look like that still? They do. And then there's a Sysmon colon, and then there's a bunch of XML. So maybe the thing to do no, system syslog message. So the system.syslog message should have the XML, right? At that point. I don't think we're ready to do this yet. Let's confirm that the system.syslog.message is there. Or just message, in fact, because it says rename system.syslog.message to message. So let's go check the message and see if it contains the word Sysmon. It should. Something's going wrong here. Because we're not getting any data. Really? I mean, we should be seeing stuff happen. You see parent process ID, like we should be seeing stuff happen, but it's not getting parsed. Let's see if there are any errors. Nope. And again, this actually should be available in here. I keep going to the machine, but this actually should tell us what's going on. Stack monitoring, I guess. No. Nah, that's not actually what I wanted. Okay, well, we're here. One error only for GeoIP. I'm not too worried about that. So where's my data? I mean, let's do some stuff. Let's do the same thing that I did here. So we're gonna sudo cp bin bash to temp bash, sudo chmod plus s, temp bash, and then temp bash. You got anything for me? Okay, it's definitely getting picked up by Sysmon. You see that there, right? Where it's a process, looks good. The question is, is there a better way to do this? Let's look at the configuration. Okay. Not a whole lot of event filtering going on there. So it should be creating a lot of noise. But the real question is, okay, this is the current schema. And the file write isn't there. Is there a way to change? What I would like to do is maybe send it to a different file, right? If possible. Sudo tail f var log syslog to sudo opt sysmon log view. Interesting. Has the filter. Oh, that's cool. So that's just plain text. So let's see. What can we do with Sysmon log view? Only display events with matching ID. Only display events at a particular field. Display the specified fields for the specified events. Event ID equals comma separated list of events. That's cool, but that's not really what I want. So it... Right. I don't think we have the ability to tell Sysmon where to log stuff. Tyler, thank you for the follow. If we look for like var log syslog, I'll bet we're gonna find this as a hard-coded string somewhere. Interesting. Oh, it's literally, they're using syslog.h. That's why. We look at the source code here. Paranoid Polaroid says the decode XML when event log yet before should go in the filebeat.yaml. Thank you. Let's take a look at that. Problem is... which filebeat.yaml? Because we don't... There is not a filebeat.yaml here, right? On the agent. And that's my thing, is like, how do I make the Elastic agent do this? There you go. So it's in data. There's this filebeat.yaml there, the agent. So if that's true... Not there on the endpoint, though. No, there's no Etsy file beat. I could have missed it. I don't think so, though. Nope. No Etsy file beat. And maybe on the endpoint. Nope, it's all contained in this thing. Aha! We found it. No, see, it's handled a different way, I think, is the trick with the agent. But I do want to see... if the agent endpoint tells us something a little bit in its logs. So we're finding syslog references here. It should be a file beat processor which works across data, so the name mapping. Yeah, so Paranoid, that's what we were looking at before. If you... Let's go back to it. If we go to the integrations... Or, sorry, that's not right. If we go to... stack management... and ingest pipelines... we found, right, that this is how syslog stuff is getting handled. Let's look for the data stream here. Syslog Linux. Index template is logs.system.syslog. I think this processor is specific to FileBeat 2, but I'm not using FileBeat. I'm using the Elastic agent, which is what Elastic wants you to do anyway now, so we're going to figure out how to make this work. Yeah, so the index is the default pipeline. All right, Wally, thanks for hanging out. All right, we're gonna get this working. Let's go back to Discover. So still just this file beat stuff. I mean, we are using FileBeat, but we're using it kind of rolled up into this thing. I'm wondering, maybe can we do it at the agent level? Hey, it handles. Thank you so much for the raid. Oh, interesting that there are two different... Oh, so this is the default and this is the Linux one. Ooh, we have dashboards. Let's see what it's saying for our sudo commands. I wonder if this dashboard works. Yo. It's picking this up. So the data is there. The question is, why couldn't we see it? What the what? All right. So as usual, this is just me failing to pick up what's going on. Ooh, okay. By the way, for those of you who just joined us, what we're doing is we're trying to compare what you can get with Auditd versus what you can do with Sysmon for Linux in terms of monitoring and detection. And right now what we've learned is that getting Sysmon for Linux to play well with things like the Elastic Agent is a bit of a pain, but we're getting there. All of this is coming from seclab sock from the syslog. But then if we go to sudo commands, you can see that it's picking it up from other places. Right, because this opt sysmon log view only happened on the Sysmon machine. So for sure, we've picked that one up. SSH logins, we haven't actually logged in since we started the agent. So let's actually exit and re-enter for both of them. Hey, there we go. Looks good. Trust the Nightbot one, not the Stream Elements one, Seashell. By the way, since we have some new folks, I should mention that we have launched a new learning platform at learn-taggart-tech.com, and we have 3 courses, all free, on offer for you right now. We have a micro course on Intro to Regular Expressions, and one for Intro to the Linux command line, and one on binary exploitation, including how to get around mitigations. So, Seashell, you come from more of a programming background. What problem does Elastic solve? Elastic is a database for storing logs at scale, meaning that and for searching logs at scale. So basically, it produces what's known as a Security Information and Event Monitoring, or SIEM, system. And the interface that we're using here is known as Kibana, but the Elastic agent lives on systems and will report log data back to that central Elasticsearch server. That's what we're dealing with. So that's kind of the problem it solves. So there is an Auditd events dashboard. That's kind of neat. It's actually pretty dope. But our syslog dashboard is somewhat limited. Oh, here we go. They just come in. I don't know why the host name is still seclab labubuntu. It shouldn't be. Yeah, it isn't. But look at this. So we see the message is in fact getting picked up. I want to see this happen. Host name seclab labubuntu. Is that why we didn't see it? Yes, it is. Well. Look what we have here. All right. Yeah. So, wild. Okay, so not all the syslog messages are going to be Sysmon style. As you can see, some of them are totally normal, but others are not. Right? And so, what we really want to do, let's look at that message. What we really want to do is parse this out, right? Now we can kind of figure our way out a little bit. If we look at our stack management, we go to the ingest pipelines. Let's go to Sysmon. Yeah. And you can kind of see what it does. pulling all this data out. And by the way, the IDs are the exact same as they would be for us. So the trick is, can we kind of copy pasta this over into our Sysmon processor to add it right? So script remove all empty values from event.data, removes to log.level, parses a date from time created. I bet that there's another ingest pipeline we have to do first, though. Logs Windows forwarded. Yes. I bet that there's something here that we have to do. And nope, just says Windows forwarded, Sysmon operational. So this is the core ingest pipeline, right? So it says security if it's security, PowerShell if it's PowerShell, operational if it's... I'm looking for the thing where it's like... Okay, here's the Windows forwarded. How does that differ from this? This is much deeper. Let's look at both of these. So the logs without forwarding is the one that I think we've seen before. And does it just know how to read XML? Ah ha ha! I think we found it. Split 800, so key value right here. Field containing a string of key value pairs. Field split. Value split is equals. Oh, cool. Oh no, that's only for event ID 800. It must just know how to read XML. Which is insane to me, but apparently... Okay, what if we did this? What if we did this? Okay. We're gonna take this pipeline name, right? And then we're gonna go to the index management. And then we're gonna go to the index templates, or indices, I think. Data streams. Syslog. Linux. I don't want to delete the data stream. Linux templates. Syslog. Data stream. Good. Component templates is fine. Is it mappings? Ah, good. Can we add pipelines? I'm looking to see if there's a way to add multiple pipelines. Maybe I should just search for that, right? That's right. Specify multiple ingest pipelines for a data stream. If we can't, we'll just hard code it. Was this ever added? No, this was never added. Okay, so we can't do multiple pipelines for an index. That's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our ingest pipeline, right? And we're going to go get the Windows. We're going to get the Sysmon. And basically copy this whole thing. God, it's so long. Why am I doing this? I've got a text editor. Let's use it. All right. So basically, the plan is if I hit edit here, can I edit the... I can't edit it in RAW, unfortunately. God, that sucks. Maybe I can do this on the endpoint though, or on the server. I don't know where these would be stored. Ingest common? Ooh. Doesn't look like it. Don't suppose it tells us where it is. You know what? Let's look for that. I don't know that we're going to find that anywhere, but worth a shot. Does Sysmon show up anywhere? Cool. All right, let's just try one then and see what we can do here. So if we go to syslog, we know this is what's processing it, right? So let's add a processor. And what do we have? We have append, bytes, circle, communicate, convert. Convert field. Field is message. This is a type conversion. I don't actually want to do that. Dissect. What does dissect do? Use dissect patterns to extract matches from a field. Good. We're back into regular expressions. Hooray! A pattern used to dissect the specified field. Pattern is defined by parts of the string to discard. Use a key modifier to alter it. All right, here we go. I spend a lot of time parsing strings on this stream, I'm realizing. But you know what I also know? I know what I said in the regular expressions course, which is that the only way to escape parsing strings is to retire or die. And I believe that to be true. Let's go. So the pattern has to go like... Okay, so it's a string. I do have a regex course. It's really short and to the point. And what it'll teach you to do is the basics of regular expressions with VS Code and Vim, as well as sed and grep. So if you're interested, this is kind of what you go through. Basic matching, character classes, quantifiers, optionals and alterations, capture groups, find and replace. So, and then a couple of real world challenges that I actually think are super fun. For example, one of the challenges is to match all of the rhyming ends, all the ends in the poem by Edgar Allan Poe, The Raven, all of the ends of lines that rhyme with nevermore. You have to write a regular expression to do that. So kind of some fun challenges for that. And so it's short. It's like under, I think, 3 hours of instruction. No, I think it's maybe under an hour of instruction, honestly, if I'm just adding all this up. And with resources for extra practice. So if you want to get a little bit more comfortable with regular expressions, definitely go check this out. Same thing with the intro to the Linux command line. Flow like Pogo and hard that tetrameter. Nice. By the way, if you want to read like maybe one of the biggest flexes in all of literary history, you gotta go read Poe's Philosophy of Composition. Mainly because he was so confident in his abilities that he was just like, yeah, I don't actually care about anything other than the effect I'm trying to have on the reader. Everything else is just purely engineered to make that happen. So it's like, I'm trying to make you sad. What's a sad thing? Oh, a dead woman is sad. So we're going to go with that. And I'm manipulating you to make you feel that way. It was so engineered. And also, all of it was in the context of dunking on Dickens for not doing that. So, Poe's Philosophy of Composition. If you're interested in writing strategy, it's actually a pretty cool thing to check out. All right, so obviously we need to fix this a little bit. Pattern is going to be event. System. Is there anything ever that isn't event system? Is a question. No, because it's always going to say provider name equals Linux Sysmon. And then I want the event ID. That's the first thing I want is the event ID to see if we can just get that. I very much smell English teacher. Well, yeah. Used to be. And my mom was an English teacher too, so I kind of didn't have a chance. Okay, so now here it comes. I think that's how we want to do this. Except it's percent, right? Rather than... Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to just do the event ID to see if we can... Hold on. Oh, so it's like a placeholder? So we'll replace the 5 with a placeholder, and then... Interesting. Version 3, level 4. Let's make that event.level. There's so much stuff in here. I'm just trying to get rid of all the escape quotes. Got record ID, process ID, thread ID. All this stuff is cool. But let's just go that far. Why is this an invalid JSON string? Oh. Does that fix it? That fixes it. If I understand this integration code, it's using handlebars, sort of. Those are kind of right. Yeah, I see what you're looking at. But so again, the problem is that that is defined for the Windows side of the house. And I want to see how we can do here. Oh, it's so funny how this looks right. So condition. Okay, we're going to try it. We'll see what happens. Any processing with the Elastic agent is supposed to be part of the integration packages now. Yeah, agreed. I just don't think it's there yet for Sysmon for Linux. That's all. Unless I can cheat. Okay, so this just came as 12. So this is still this is 3 minutes old. We'll wait for something a little bit newer to come in. Hopefully it does. But meanwhile, if we look at our integrations, so I have the Windows. All this stuff is free to use. Yes. Yeah, so the Windows integration, right? So the way that it's set up is that you can determine what logs you're pulling, but the problem is that here it's pulling from the event log channels, and that's really not like if I can't change or I can't point to specific file names, I can't modify this. So even if I were to enable the Windows event log integration on the Linux policy, I wouldn't be able to capture the data because I can't point it to the right file. Okay, cool. We've got some more data coming in. I don't know if this will have worked. I'm hopeful. I see event.id. I think we got it. Okay, so plenty more to do, but I think we have a way of parsing the data from the Sysmon stuff. Although we should be seeing some event IDs here, and we're not, which is concerning. Oh no, that's because they're older. They're older, right? As new data comes in, with any luck, let's try making some stuff happen. Okay, more event ID 5s. Now, this one has an event ID of 1 and it didn't get picked up, and I'm curious why. Oh my god, because I'm very, very naive about this. Of course, I was doing too much work. That is absolutely the story of my life. We're going to fix this ingestion. So this is just going to be the Sysmon event ID. And then we'll make some more. Because that's all I have to match, right? That's all I have to match. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Stig. Yeah, our products can be used at no cost. So now we've got the event ID, and now we can do like extra stuff with it. Let's do a little bit more with that. Yeah. Okay, this isn't so bad. This isn't so bad. Can we duplicate this processor? Yeah, we can. Okay, so we're going to do Sysmon event ID. What else do we want? We want, give me the message. Let's see. What? There's no formatter for XML files? All right, time to use some regular expressions then. You'll like this. Okay. Regular expression mode activated every time we find a an ending tag, we're going to replace it with that and a new line. Whoops. There we go. That is how we do that. So what we just did, I know that's a little small, but what we did was we looked for every ending tag in the XML. And then what we did was we wrapped it in a capture group. And that allows us in our replace to reference that capture group as capture group number 1. And then append that with a new line, just to make it a little bit cleaner for us to read. Thought this might be helpful. So we want the event ID. We want the image, I think, and the process ID. Those are ones that are really going to matter for us. And then eventually we might get some other stuff from some of the others that we'll learn. But for right now, I want the image and the user for sure. And then we'll look at the event ID 1 to see what's up with that as well. Here, this one's going to be the image. Let's do process ID first. Escape your strings. And here, right, we'll do event.pid. There should always be a PID for this one, so that's fine. Okay, and then let's duplicate this for Sysmon image. Actually, should be basically just like this. Event.image. We're going to ignore missing on this one. Actually, we should ignore missing on all of them because some of the syslog messages won't have this, right? Okay. Now, we're going to have some different stuff for event ID 1 and event ID 3, assuming we have some of those. Let's take a look at this event ID 1, see if there's anything useful here. Yeah, see ignored value. Yeah, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. right? Because the event ID ones are spicy. They have all this good stuff in here, right? We want the hashes. No hashes? Okay. Maybe we can't do that. But we definitely want the parent image. We want the command line. Look at that curl. Yeah. I can smell command, I swear. Okay. And for the parent image and command line, we should pretty much always be able to get these together. I may combine some more of these, but because I know the order for the event ID ones are going to be pretty much the same, that one's an easy one to do. We'll ignore this missing. Okay. And then we're going to duplicate. Parent. Comme ça. No new line. That's not the way it's ingested, right? Event dot parent image. And all right. Update. Save the pipeline. Oh no! Dissect. Event PID. Unable to find any keys or delimiters. Oh, because I'm... Right, of course. I put in a $sign. I don't know why I default to that instead of the %. What was the other one I did wrong? Image and PID. Oh, you know what it is? I'm so used to writing those in template strings. We save it now. Okay. So new data coming in should provide us with some event IDs, I'm hoping. Oh, it's still saying unable to find match for dissect pattern event ID against source. You're not? Did I break everything? Looks very much like I broke everything. Are any of the others working? Let's look at the event ID 1, see if I'm getting like... No, those are old. Can't use those. Let's fire another one of these off. Just make some noise in there. See how we're doing. Yeah. Oh, do I have to put like key modifiers can change the default behavior for dissection. Key modifiers can be found on the left or right. Pins two or more fields together. Assess the output key as value of star. Okay, so here's the problem. The problem is that I can't use dissect for this, I don't think, because I would have to basically match the entire log against these. So this is no good. I think rock is closer to what I want, isn't it? But again, I don't want a regular expression. I want, or I actually do want a regular expression. Paranoid Polaroid helping us out here with optional. The response here is, why not use the XML filter? Is there an XML filter? I don't see... In Logstash, not sure you can be called from Grok. Again, great. That's not my use case. We got to figure out a way to do it with this. Let's see what we got here. Processor reference. You can install additional processors as plugins. Okay, all ingest functionalities move to the default distribution. Cool. So this documentation doesn't make any sense. All right. So we're going to blow these away because they're not actually what we want to do. That's okay. Now, just as a sanity check, is it picking up any of the Sysmon data? It doesn't appear to be, no. So that's fine. I am concerned that it's not seeing the event ID 3s, though. Right, we see a lot of event ID 1s here that are fired off. There's the system CTL, right? There's the command line status. So it's picking up a lot of stuff, but what I'm not seeing are event ID 3s for network connections. And given the fact that it's using eBPF, that's extremely confusing to me. So it's finding event ID 1s. No event ID 3s, though. And that may be because the config is not designed to do it. Where's our sudo sysmon C? S for schema? Yeah. Create process. File time, that's event ID 2. Network connect. So that's the schema. But it's not seeing any of the event ID 3s. That's interesting. Okay, but says you can install an additional processor as a plugin. The mic isn't muted, Steak. Oh, I'm just got 2 hours in, 2.5 hours in. I was not on my game for today's Chiron. Apologies. All ingest functionality has been moved to the default distribution. So we don't have the ability to expand this capability. It just tells us what the... This documentation sucks. I'm sorry to say it, but it really does. All right, so what else do we have then? We have an append, we have a bytes, circle. I don't really want that. I want... Drops documents, no. Use a regular expression to replace field substrings. G-sub. Thank God. Regular expression. I'm assuming we can do named... It's doing named capture groups. Oh, no. It's not. This isn't what I wanted. Because if I do this, this is just like a find and replace. Use a regular expression to replace field substrings. Yeah, no. I don't want to do that because it's not extracting fields. Nope. Oh! There's a pipeline processor. So here's what we're gonna do. Yeah. Because it's already pulling the message, right? And it's pulling the message without the Sysmon part, which is kind of cool. So, okay, so... Hey, Trickar, thank you so much for the follow. We're going to try running the ingest pipeline. For Sysmon operational on this thing. And if that works... Let's just take a look at it real quick. No, this is the wrong one. Yeah, see how it is with pipelines here? Run the log. You know what I think we're going to have to do is write pipelines for the different event IDs. Yeah. Yeah. Because we can't do a grok because it's too variant between each one. And or to convert to JSON outside of Elastic. I don't want to do that. Paranoid. The reason I don't want, like, your solutions will make sense, but my intention is to try to create a solution that reduces complexity rather than adds it. Now we have some intrinsic complexity here that there's nothing I can do about, but adding a solution that exists outside of the dashboard here is no bueno to me. And the reason that's true is that anybody who has to manage the tool will then have to know that weird quirk that's going on, which would be fine for me, but not fine if somebody wanted to install this. All right, fine. New pipeline. Now, we're actually already going to have to have the event ID, which we know we can do, right? The event ID we actually know we can do. Because we can capture this, right? So I'm going to create this pipeline. That's fine. Now we're going to go back to syslog. And we're going to edit this. I'm new to all this, but doesn't documentation cover quirks for others with access or needing to know sort of a cook come up with a recipe, and the only way to allow others to work with it is to write it down for information? Yeah, it should, but it doesn't. Nobody writes documentation well. Nobody. And Elastic, not great. So, no, unfortunately, we are going to have to do some of this ourselves and figure it out. Oh, perfect. So I'm just going to delete these. Because I need the event ID. The reason I need the event ID is because that's what's going to determine what happens next. So we're going to bring this back. call that event.id. And that's all we're going to do with this one. Okay. Save this pipeline. Now, with that pipeline saved, I'm hoping, we go back to Discover here. Reload here. Some new data. I need new data. Okay. And are we parsing event ID? We are indeed. Are we parsing it for everything? Well, kinda. Yes! Okay, so we're getting event ID 1s. That's great news. So what we can do from that, right? Now that we have an event ID of 1, we can use that in a conditional way, sort of the same way that the Windows logs did. Maybe that is why they say, don't reinvent the wheel, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's not helpful, like at all. This is a solution that doesn't exist. Sysmon for Linux is new. And these parsers, right, don't exist in this shape or form. So right now, what you're seeing us do is inventing a new tool. It's something that hasn't been done as far as I know, is how to get Sysmon for Linux logs into the Elastic agent, into Elastic using the Elastic agent. It's been done in other ways with Logstash and things like that, but it hasn't been done this way. And by the way, why the Elastic agent? Why does that matter? Because the ease of deployment is really, really, really good. It's so simple to deploy the Elastic agent that you want to be able to have these sorts of parsers available. And by the way, it is broke. Detection on Linux is a huge problem. That's one of the reasons why. I mean, you look at any Linux EDR. If you look at Linux EDRs at all, you will discover that their capabilities are pretty rudimentary. And they're very limited in what they can do compared to their Windows counterparts. Part of that is because of the architecture of Linux and Unix-like operating systems. Part of that is that they don't have the developers to work on it. And what's really exciting about Sysmon for Linux is that by leveraging eBPF, they're actually getting into the kernel and in ways that wasn't really easy to do before, and able to analyze processes and get this data in ways that wasn't possible before. So I'm pretty excited for that, but the ingestion is still kind of lagging behind because who's building it? All right. So just as a proof of concept here, we're going to fill in so we're going to replace every quote with a backslash quote here. And Let's actually do the whole thing. In VS Code and then transfer it over because it'll be much easier to do. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. Dang it. There we go. So this is just going to be easier to work with. Okay, so we know we have the event ID, version 5, level. Event.level. Cool. Task 1. I don't really know what that's going to be, but... Okay. Okay. I do want the record ID. Ah, crap. This is gonna hose us. Oh, no, it's not. I'm just gonna capture it. I was like... It's like, what am I going to do with this? Answer, capture it. Same here. Anything that's variable, we're going to capture. Yep. Oh, yeah. That's where we actually want the PID coming from. Here comes the image. I don't know that any of this stuff is going to show up, but just in case it does. We're going to capture it. Yeah. I doubt this is going to ever be anything. Because this is coming from signed data. Event UID line 12. Oh, thanks, Skyrider. don't know why that's such a hard habit for me to break. Almost done. And of course, that's when I'm going to decide to work smarter, not harder. Terminal session. Integrity level, no level. That's never going to be true. It's so interesting that they just left it straight up, like reading a Windows process with all of these other keys. Like, who cares? You're never going to see that. I am curious about the hashes though, because I think you could actually get the hash if you really wanted to. Okay. Having done all of that, oh, you know what? Let's get the keywords too, because who knows what that's going to do. Okay, did we miss anything that might change the version, I guess? Why not? Because we know we want the event ID one. Remember, this is for event ID ones. I think we got it. So we're going to just remove those new lines. Okay. And so for our Sysmon Linux process create, we're going to edit this thing. We're going to add a processor. It was a dissect, right? Okay, it's not yelling us about the string. So the field is message. Ignore missing. And the condition, we actually need to add a condition here, and I need to read how to do this from another one. Let's go to stack management over here. Long stream today, but this will be cool if we can figure out how to do this. Have I ever coded in D? No. I have looked at it but I have not. So condition, if I think it's just that, if event ID equals 1. We'll ignore failure here. Uh-oh. Dissect has troubles. Just says processor, pipeline error. String seems good. Is it too long or something? Unlike the Grok processor, Dissect does not use regular expressions. This allows Dissect syntax to be simple and, for some cases, faster than the Grok processor. So the Grok processor can use regex. I just need to learn how. It asked for JSON. So, Vanny, what I supplied it was a string that will be read into JSON. But the string has these handlebars here. I wonder if it was the conditional. It was. So we didn't get the conditional right. Okay. Well, we can fix that. So the conditional was the problem. Actually, no, I don't need to add a conditional on this one. I need to add a conditional on the syslog, right? Because what I want to do is add a pipeline. Sysmon Linux-process create. This couldn't autocomplete for me, could it? Right? But only if message.id equals 1. And what? Do I need that to be a string, maybe? Damn it. On if conditionally run processor. Let's go. If ctx.network.name. So what do we do? We do like ctx ctx dot message dot id equals 1. Is that closer to what we wanted? that worked. Huh. So theoretically, that's sorted, right? The pipeline is running, or the pipeline is configured to run from syslog. If the event ID is 1. This is where we'll end today, just doing event ID 1. And we'll build those out at another time. But that is... on event IDs 5s, let's go make some event ID 1s. Okay, so plainly, the event ID was parsed, but nothing else was. ID was not found. How many different languages does this thing involve? We've got Grok, Painless, KQL, Lucene. Oh no. That's because this is wrong. It's ctx.event.id equals 1. Still, how many possible, you know what I mean? Like, how many languages can there possibly be for one tool? Okay, this one just came in. No errors. But no parsing either. Yeah, it's a string. I did that correctly. Boo. All right. So obviously, at the end of our comparison, I think what we've learned is that Sysmon offers a great deal of potential for detecting events in a rich way, and in a way that maps onto what you're doing with your Windows environment as well. for detection, at least in the sim, and for investigation later and threat hunting. That's super exciting. However, right now, the tools to make use of it are not there. And it's going to take some effort on the part of the community and hopefully on the part of vendors to make it available so that it's easier to do what we do with the Windows logs. I think that's the big lesson that we've learned today. And I'll continue to work on this. I will make this work and I will publish how to do it. Okay? Because it's too important to me to not make this work. But I think that's going to be it for today. Vanny, thank you so much for the sub. As a reminder, we have a new learning platform with 3 courses available and more on the way. So if you're interested, they're all free, by the way. If you're interested in checking those out, please go to learn.taggart-tech.com. And for those of you who stuck around, I have a present for you. A course that is not free is now 75% off in celebration of our 2,000 followers on Twitch. So if you use the code HolySocks2K today, if you haven't gotten the Practical Web App Security and Testing course, you can go get it for 75% off right now. I'll put that on Twitter as well for folks. But please go grab the course if you haven't already. Pretty exciting. With that, let's see if somebody else is up right now. All right, my buddy GoPro is streaming, so let's go ahead and give him a raid. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hope you learned something. I definitely know that I did. As mentioned, we're going to have a programming change, so I will not be back on Tuesday. I will be back on Wednesday with Chill Code. So we're going to do Wednesdays and Saturdays. Same times, though. 5 p.m. Pacific on Wednesdays and Saturdays, 10 a.m. So until next time, friends, please be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and happy hacking. We'll see ya.